Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Satchidananda Rupaya Vishvotpattyadihetave Tapatraya Vinashaya Shri Krishnaya Vayam Namaha. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Hari Om, salutations to all. So we saw that King Prthu, he was being praised by the poets, the bards, all assembled there, because he is the avatar of Bhagwan and he manifested with Mother Lakshmi. So he is called Prthu in this avatar and Archi Devi. Now we are in Canto 4. We saw up to chapter 16. Now we are in chapter 17. When all these poets and bards, etc., have finished their stuti of Prthu Raja, he accepts what they said. He respects them. He gives them gifts. He honors them, and he also further greets Brahmana Pramukhan Varnan Bhrityam Matya Purodhasaha Pauranjana Padan Shrenihi Prakriti Samapujayat. So he greeted with due honors the members of all the four Varnas. From Brahmana onwards, then even including his servants, his own ministers, family priests, citizens, inhabitants of the entire state, people following the various trades, functionaries, officials. He greets everybody, honors them. Now, Vidurji, he asks a question to Maitreya Rishi that Prthu Raja got this name because of Prithvi. And he milked the Prithvi and he made the Prithvi flat. All those things are the cause why he is called Prthu. So Vidurji asks him that from many forms that the earth could take, why did the earth take a specific form of a cow which Prthu Raja milked? Who played the role of a calf? Because for the cow to give milk, there must be a calf, and looking at the calf, the cow's heart is filled with love and the milk also comes out much more. So who was the calf? And how was the earth leveled by Prthu Raja? Then Prthu Raja conducted an Ashwamedh Yajna. So Indra stole away his horse. And then Prthu Raja also got knowledge from the Sanat Kumars. So now he is Bhagwan's avatar and yet he went to Sanat Kumars and he got the knowledge from them. And so he says, "Oh, Maitreya Rishi, I am the devotee of Lord Krishna and I request you, please clarify all these questions. Please let us know about the glory of Bhagwan only, because he is sure that Bhagwan alone has come, Krishna Bhagwan or Mahavishnu himself has come in the form of Prthu Raja. So it is his glory alone." He says, "You please tell more and more about the stories of Prthu Raja." So Maitreya Rishi continues. Sutaji says that Maitreya Rishi was very happy and he praised Vidurji, and then Maitreya Rishi continues. So when Prithu Raja was crowned as the king. The Brahmanas crowned him as the king because there was no king. If you remember the story of king, his father, Vena, he was very wicked person. And so they churned his hands and then Prithu Raja manifested. Now they crowned him as the king, and before he can do anything great for the kingdom, the Praja went to him saying that we all are starving, the crops are not coming forth. So they had become very lean, they had become very weak, emaciated, and they went to him and they said, oppressed with the gastric fire, even as trees with the fire burning in their hollows, O king, we have resorted today for protection to you. They are hungry, they have not eaten, they have become weak. Their Jataragni is very, very strong, and the pangs of hunger are troubling them. So they seek the protection of the king. And they say that please make this livelihood available to us, make this crops available to us. So you are the protector of the world as well as the bestower of livelihood. Therefore, please endeavor to give us food first. Before any great things can be done, please give us food, afflicted as we are with hunger. Before we perish, they are in that dire state. So Prithu Raja, when he saw this, that why is the Praja not having food? Why is the earth not bringing forth the food? So he pondered over it. Prithu Prajanam Karunam Nishamya Paridevitam Dirgham Dadhyau Kurushrestha Nimittam Sonvapadyata. So it is said Prithu Raja, when he thought deeply, he was able to figure out what is the cause, and he found that the earth was holding all the resources in her bosom. She was not bringing them forth. And so though the rains are falling, though people are putting their efforts, the crops are not growing. It's not a drought season. There is no drought. But yet the crops are not coming forth, though the rains, etc. are there. Iti vyavasito buddhya pragrahita शरासनः sandadhe vishikham bhumehe kruddha stripuraha yatha. Now when he perceived the cause, he became very angry. Prithu Raja, he lifted his bow and his arrow and he aimed at earth, just like Lord Shiva aimed his arrow at Tripurasura. With that anger, he wanted to destroy this earth. Now looking at him in this way, earth began trembling, shivering. She assumed the form of a cow and she ran in all directions, north, east, west, south, all the in-between directions. And even she went, tried to go into the Bhuvar Loka. Wherever she went, she would see Prithu Raja standing with a bow and arrow ready to kill her. Now, when she didn't find any protection, and wherever she went, she saw that she may be killed, she sought the refuge of Prithvi Raja. And she says, we see now in shloka number 17 and 18. Loke na vindatatranam vainyan mrityoriva prajaha trasta tada nivavrite hridayena viduyata. Just like the created beings don't find any shelter or any refuge against death. Death has to come to everybody, it is unavoidable. In the same way, she saw that there is no escape from Prithvi Raja, who is a son of Vena. And so with a sore heart, she returns to Prithu Raja himself. Uvacha cha mahabhagam dharmajnapan Uvacha cha mahabhagam dharmajnapannavatsala trahi mamapi bhutanam pale navasthito bhavan. So she surrenders and she says, you are the knower of dharma, you are the one who protects the afflicted. So please protect me, because you have come here to protect all the beings. The father, Vena, he was anyway a cruel person and he used to torture people, and that's why he was killed by these sages and brahmanas, and then Prithu Raja manifested. So his avatar is for protection. So he says, you have come here, palena avasthito bhavan. So she says, why do you seek to kill me? Satvam jighasase kasmad dina makrita kilbisham. So you have come here to protect, you have come here to uplift. Why do you seek to kill me? And I'm just a meek and innocent creature. Why are you wanting to kill me? And especially I am in this female form. I am a cow. See what she says next. These things we don't know, that our scriptures say this. Praharantina vaistrishu krita gasvapi jantavaha kimutat twadvidha rajan karunadina vatsalaha. See this so clearly. She says, people do not strike the fair sex even though they have committed an offense. Even if some mistake is done by the woman is not beaten. She is not, there's no violence done against her. And much less people like you who are the great knowers of dharma, who are so gracious, who are so kind to the miserable, definitely you will not stoop to such levels. And then she says, if you destroy me, how will you sustain the praja? There will not be any way to sustain the praja. So what is the point of destroying me also? How will you support yourself as well as all these created beings on the surface of water? You destroy this entire earth. There is no place for people, there is no food, there is nothing. How will the praja survive? Meaning the land only is not there. So what good will come out of it? So Prithu Raja says that he is in anger. Now, when he is in anger, he says that you have turned a deaf ear to my commands and you take your share in the yajna, but you are not bringing forth the crops. And here he says, 22nd one you see, 23rd one, sorry. Yavasam jagdhyanudinam naiva dogdhyau thasam payaha tasyam evam hi dushtayam dando natrana sashyate. He says punishment is not unadvisable in the case of the cow, which is so wicked that it feeds on fodder every day but does not yield milk of its udders. So there's nothing wrong if that cow has to be punished when she is not doing the duty that she has to do and she's consuming. So you are consuming, but you are not giving. So he says that you refuse to release the food grains already created by Brahma. So the life sustaining force which is there in the Prithvi is Bhagwan's life sustaining force actually. The capability in Prithvi. That's why in the Gita also Bhagwan says, Punyo Gandha Prithvivyam cha. I am the sweet smell rising from the Prithvi. Even same way, all the capability to nurture, nourish, transform that small seed into such a big plant, tree, which further brings forth more fruits, flowers, all that, more grains. That capability comes in the Prithvi because of Bhagavan. And now, through Brahmaji, when he does the creation, so Brahmaji, in his mind, he will do all the creation. It will manifest physically also. So he has already created, but physically the manifestation is not happening on the earth. So he says that food grains already created by Brahma, you have concealed in your bosom. So when your bowels are ripped apart, with that food, I will nurture and nourish all the people who are hungry. Then he says, see this 26th one. Puman Yoshidu Takliba Atma Sambhavano Dhamaha Bhuteshu Niranukrosho Nirpanam Tad Vadhaha. All the three genders are mentioned. Puman, Yoshita and Kliba. So people ask, what is the position of Hinduism on the third gender? Third gender is also accepted as one more gender. They are not condemned, they are not criticized, they are not overly hyped also. They are there. They are called Tritiya Prakriti. In Ayurveda also it is called Tritiya Prakriti. Here it is Kliba. Different names are given. So he says, whoever that person may be, because she said, I am a female and how can you do violence against me, and here you are trying to kill me. So he says that for the rulers of men to kill the vile and self-conceited soul, be it man, woman or the third gender, who is merciless to beings, is no killing at all. That is not wrong. To protect dharma, if a Kshatriya has to do, one will do as a duty. So he says, having torn you with arrows into pieces as minute as the sesame seeds, the till seeds, like the till. So I will tear you to pieces like that. Because you are stubborn, arrogant, and have assumed illusory appearance of a cow, I will support all these beings who are tormented by this hunger. And with my yogic power, I can sustain. So don't worry about sustenance and all that. You have not done your duty, and so many people are suffering here. My avatar is to protect them. And by destroying you, whatever are the potentials which you are hiding in your bosom, they will manifest. Now, please remember, this is an anger of Bhagavan. It's not that he wants to destroy the earth completely. For that, he doesn't have to wait also. His sankalpa is enough, earth will be destroyed. But the anger is being used here by the Lord. So that, see, Prithvi is holding it back in her bosom. By herself, she should have brought it out. She will explain her reasoning now. Bhagavan knows the reasoning. But he uses anger to make Prithvi understand, or to tame her, to, let us say, rid her of her fears also. By his assurance, he will rid her of the fears. But Prithvi also has to come forth and express her position. Why is she holding back everything? She's just quietly holding back everything, and people are suffering and she's doing nothing. So as a king, he does a show of anger. Now, Prithvi, she has taken refuge of Prthu Raja. So she, with folded hands, she goes there and praises Prthu Raja as Bhagavan himself. So this stuti comes here. The gist of it is that she glorifies Prthu Raja as that supreme Brahman who, using the power of Maya, creates this entire universe, sustains and destroys it. And though he is the creator, sustainer, destroyer, he appears as the whole creation, he remains untouched by it. And she says that you have made this whole creation, you have made me also. And you have made me the abode of living beings, and from whom has proceeded this creation consisting of three gunas. So if you are ready to kill me, you only who have made me are wanting to kill me, whose refuge will I take? Then she says that at the dawn of creation, the animate and the inanimate beings were created by the Lord, that is Prthu Raja, by the power of his Maya. And that Supreme Lord, who is beyond all reasoning, is now out to protect it by the same Maya. You have come here to protect dharma, to protect righteousness, to protect this creation. Then how do you seek to kill me? When you are so devoted to dharma, why are you killing me? What have I done to deserve this? She will come to her reasoning, but she says you are righteous, and earlier it was said cows and brahmanas, Prthu Raja is the one who will protect and who will ensure that they are taken care of. So you are born for that, and here I am in the form of a cow. I have come to you. So how do you seek to kill me? She says that why you want to do what you are doing, nobody can understand. It is beyond comprehension. You alone know your reasonings. So it is beyond the comprehension of anybody. He says that hail to that supreme person who, when necessary, brings into play and then withdraws into himself various potencies, the various powers, the Ashtasiddhis and Navanidhis and all that, and who brings about the creation, preservation, destruction of this whole universe by the means of his potencies in the form of the five gross elements, the 10 senses, the Antakarana, all those things appear from the Supreme Lord. And she says that you are the one who lifted me from that Rasatala. Varaha Avatar, she reminds him that you are the Supreme Lord. When I had fallen to Rasatala, you took the form of a boar and you came down, lifted me on your tusks, fought with that Hiranyaksha, killed him, restored me back to my position. So you are that Supreme Lord who are my protector. Now, if you are desiring to kill me, then what more can I say? She has taken refuge of Prthu Raja, reminding him. And she says that your Leela, incomprehensible. People whose minds are clouded by Maya, people like me whose minds are clouded by Maya, we cannot fathom that why you are doing certain things. You are my protector, now you are only wanting to kill me. So with that, this particular chapter ends. This 17th chapter. Now we go into the 18th one. Earth, who was in the form of a cow, she was actually scared, and though she's saying all these things, she is also having a lot of fear in her mind. So somehow she made herself steady, and again she spoke. Second shloka. Sanniyachhabhibhomanyum nibodha shravitam chame sarvata saramadatte yatha madhukaro buddhaha. she says that you are most powerful, you are able to do what you can, whatever you will, and please control your wrath and consider what I tell you. She is giving reasonings now that why she held back. She says, you please control your wrath and hold back and listen to what I'm saying. And just like the bee extracts the essence, in that way, please, like wise people, will also grasp the essence. The bee will take the nectar. In that same way, the nectar is the essence of the flower. So in that same way, you please take the essence of my arguments and please listen to me. So from third shloka onwards, she says this, that sages who have realized the truth have discovered and tested methods for the realization of human ends here as well as hereafter. So there is time-tested wisdom that the sages have discovered for attaining the good here, hereafter. And those who follow that time-tested wisdom with faith and reverence, they achieve the purpose of life. Those who ignore it completely and independently, they behave as they want to behave, and they become egoistic, selfish, arrogant, and they disregard the past completely. So she says here that Tanat tishtati yas samyak upayan purvadarshitan avara shraddhayopeta upeyan vindaten jasa tan anadritya yo vidwan artha narabhate swayam tasya vyabhicharantyarthaha arabdhascha punah punah. All the endeavors of such a person, whatever they may be, they will have lots of obstacles and they will not meet that success. What does that mean? What did the ancient masters they teach? They taught to live in harmony with the universe. They taught the vision of oneness. They taught the glory of human life is in serving, giving, sacrificing, and ensuring that one lives with the attitude that we are serving the divine. That is the ancient wisdom. While fulfilling one's own desires also, one must ensure that the society is taken care of. So even as a grahasthi, one has the panchamaharunas to fulfill. And the yajnas and various things that one does are meant for living in harmony with the creation, with the various beings, doing our duties towards the rishis, pithrus, towards the people around, the beings around. All those things, what the ancients taught. When one disregards all that, then one is living only for I, me and myself, then one becomes selfish, one becomes exploitative, because one will create all kinds of comforts, etc. for one's own enjoyment at the cost of whatever can happen to others and to the creation. It doesn't matter. I, me and mine, that is most important. So when somebody lives like that, temporarily it may appear that person became successful, but that person is not really successful, and the person's objectives one will not really be able to achieve. And she says here that even though his efforts are renewed every now and then, his ends are never realized. So now she continues that the herbs and the plants that have been evolved of the old by Brahmaji, the creative agent of God, they were being used and enjoyed by those who were unrighteous and had not taken any religious vows and observances. So they are not following that ancient wisdom. Pura srishta hyo shadhayo brahmanaya vishampate bhujyamana mayadrishta asad bhiradhrita vrataihi. Those people who have not taken up vrata, those people who are not, following this ancient wisdom, they are living all by themselves, for themselves. Now they were using all my resources. apalita nadrita cha bhavadbhirlokapalakaihi chori bhutetha lokeham yajnarthe grasamoshadhihi. So she says that because they were misusing all my resources, I have held back, I have withheld all these in my bosom, the herbs, the plants, because I was unprotected and uncared for by the earlier kings, like King Vena, etc. He says, your predecessors, they didn't care for me, they didn't protect me. And because of and after King Vena died, all these thieves and so many of them, they became much more active. There's anarchy. So they flourished on the earth. Now, I have to preserve these various aushadhis, etc. for the yajna also, because those are offered in the yajna. So the Srishti runs because of this. The Devatas get ahutis, they will take care of the whole Srishti, and they in turn will bless the people who are doing yajna. That's the Srishti Kram. We see in the Gita chapter 3 also it comes. Devan bhavayatanena te deva bhavayantu vaha parasparam bhavayanta shreya param avapsyatha. That you propitiate the Devatas, Devatas will bless you, and mutually cooperating with each other, you attain the highest. Now, if these aushadhis and plants and various resources, they get completely depleted, destroyed, and they are used by the unrighteous people, and they who have no value for the deeper vision of life, the oneness of the whole creation, and the interdependence of whole creation, then there will be a lot of imbalance. And so I have held back all this for this reason. It's not that Earth became selfish and she didn't want to give. Are we not seeing what is happening in the world today? So many things which are happening, drought in some place and absolutely excess rains in some other place, floods in some places, tidal waves, lot of challenges which are there, forest fires, what all is happening. One of the main reasons is human being has become selfish and is not protecting the earth. One has become immoral, unethical, does anything for just one's own enjoyment and sense pleasures. Then how will there be harmony, peace? And so the earth's life-giving nourishment, nurturing capabilities, etc., she withholds, saying that I am uncared for, unprotected, and these people are exploiting like anything. So I have to fend for myself, and I need to safeguard in the larger interest of the creation, as well as those who are righteous people, they will need some of these to continue their way of living. So I cannot let all these come out and then be looted away by these unrighteous forces. So she says this is the main reason. So it is natural that the plants have got assimilated in me through a long process of time. It's not happened overnight. Through a long process of neglect, exploitation. Have we not done that slowly? We have continuously kept on exploiting the earth, and today we are in this situation. And what are the UN goals for climate change? What they say? We are in a crisis situation right now. In the next 2 years, if we don't do drastic steps, we don't take, it is situation after that is irreversible. 2 years. Think about it. 20 years ago, America's elections were fought on this issue of climate change. That time people were debating, is it even real? Is it even just a hoax? It is hyped up by people and all that. And even today there are people who think like that climate change is a myth. But you see what is happening around. 2 years is a time now. And still wars are going on, still things are going on the way they are. Then the price we only have to pay. Our karmas will give us those kind of results. How much each one can even do to reduce the carbon footprints, we have to think. clothes, keep minimum clothes as one has. How much water, how much things goes to produce the clothes. Eat food which is more, what you call locally available. कहाँ से we import some fruit and from something and we keep eating exotic type of food. How much travel, how much carbon footprint all that carries. Electricity we can save. This usage of plastic we can reduce. Use more of steel, glass containers. Don't keep on buying plastic water bottles. That what you call that disposable mineral water bottles. Carry a thermos, carry a flask. Drink water in that. Fill up the water. Drink again. How much we can reduce, we should reduce. And each one doing it will make a difference. How many plants we can take care of, at our home, somewhere else also do some tree plantations. Many things we can do still. Even yajnas can be done by us. It will help. See, one of the things she says is, I hold back for yajnas because these yajnas will preserve. We think that yajnas will destroy the earth. Yajnas will not destroy the earth. The yajnas will protect the earth. The mantras that are chanted, the ahutis that are given, the bhavana that yajna nurtures and nourishes in that performer of being one with the creation, of doing the offering to the devatas. And one also replenishes the earth for the resources that one has taken. It's not that it's one-way traffic. We only keep taking from the earth. We have to give back to the earth also. So yajnas also help to give back. That yajna ash, etc. is put on the earth, which will help the earth to bring out the crop. Even the wood that is used, only specific type of wood is used, and those things are continuously being planted. It's not that one keeps on taking and doesn't give back. One has to give back. Yajna bhavana is to give more than what you consume. So she says that for this reason I held back, because I don't want this to be destroyed. So over a long process of time, this has got assimilated in me, the crops and the aushadhis and everything. I didn't bring forth now. Now you are the person who is a dharmic king. And so I will be able to bring forth as you invoke. So she says that now you are the person competent to draw them forth by some expedient known to be effective in this behalf. O Lord, sustaining the life of beings, pray find a calf, a befitting milk pot, and one who can draw the milk, so that full of affection for the calf, I shall yield to you the desired objects in the form of milk, if you want to have nutritious food coveted by living beings. She says, I am ready to bring forth. I held back because of this, because the kings were not righteous, people were having anarchy, they were not following dharma. It will affect. You see, we think of Earth only as some geographical planet. Earth is not a geographical planet alone. It is a sentient living entity. Whether we know it or not, accept it or not, that's the Vedic vision, beautiful vision it is. And she says that. That's why in the prayers, the common prayers when one prays to Bhagavan, one says, Deshoyam nirupadravostu, or Swasti prajabhya paripalayantam nyayena margena mahim mahishaha. The kings of this earth, mahim mahishaha, may they protect the earth and the praja with nyaya. They should live dharmically, they should protect the praja with nyaya. Gobrahmanebhya shubhamastu nityam loka samasta sukhino bhavantu kale varshatu parjanyah. May the rains come in time. Prithvi sasya shalini, and Prithvi will be green and very prosperous, overflowing with abundance. Deshoyam kshobha rahitaha. May this country be free from droughts and insufficiency. Brahmana santu nirbhayaha, and may the Brahmanas be fearless, because if Brahmana is fearless, That means the protection of the king is there, and Brahmana is able to do the sadhana, do the duties, ensure that dharma prevails in the society. The knowledge the Brahmana gives, the yajnas that one does, the teaching that one continues, helps the people to do the rites, rituals, etc. Then there will be vyavastha in the whole society. See, a Kshatriya can protect dharma, but who will spread dharma? Who will make people live dharma? That is the Brahmana. And it's not that Brahmanas were doing only for themselves and for the king. They were doing for the society. And so, that is our prayer. Everyone goes and prays to Bhagavan that may this happen for the well-being of the entire country. And so here it is that the earth, she says that now that you are a protector. So if the king is a protector of dharma, there will be development and growth which will happen. That you can see is a basic principle. The king is a protector of dharma means the king values dharma more than oneself, one's ego, one's power, one's name, one's glory. Which means one will put the country before oneself, one will put the welfare of the praja before oneself. With that vision, if the king rules, there will be prosperity and overall nyaya and dharma will be there in the society. Because yatha raja tatha praja. If the king is corrupt, living for only oneself, living selfishly, exploiting the people, not giving back, it is the people's money that the king takes in taxes, that was said earlier. And the king has to serve them using that money. It is not for his treasury. It is not his own treasury anyways. It is the treasury of the state. If the leaders, political people, if so many, the bureaucrats, all of these, if there is dharma, if there is nyaya, then that country will progress. Where there is selfishness, you see how much war is happening in the world, how much unrest is because of selfishness. And all these freebies that one keeps on giving just to get popular votes and then, come to power and then make maximum money. Everything costs. How long can one keep giving free everything? But no, one has to give and then one will get those votes and then one will come to the power. That number game cycle, all that keeps happening. So if the king is a protector of dharma, earth will give out its best. If earth is holding back, earth is not able to give out, that means we are exploiting, and the cause for exploitation is selfishness. So here she says that now that you are the Lord of sustaining life and beings, so you please find a calf. Looking at the calf and also find somebody to milk and find the milk pot. She's saying Bhagavan. Now, also she says one more thing, that please remove my ruggedness and make me level, so that when rains have passed, the water poured down by the God of rain may stand on me, and may all be well with you. See, Environment Day and all that when comes now, in June 5th or something is Environment Day. These are the verses we should remember. We think of Mother Earth as a Devi. We don't think of Earth as some inert entity or some planet. For us, she is a living entity, Bhudevi. And she is consort of Bhagavan. Shri Devi and Bhudevi, they are consorts of Bhagavan. So with that bhavana, one lives. And for us, then she is a mother. We are born from her, we go back into her, we are sustained by the food and everything that she brings forth. So when that bhavana is there, then one will live with that ecological sensitivity towards the earth, towards the environment, towards the nature. So now a beautiful description comes, elaborate one, where it is said that, see, Prthu Raja, when he understood the reasoning behind Mother Earth, he also became calm. It's not that he has an ego that, I'm going to destroy this earth at any cost. His anger is a show of anger. And earth came up and she explained her reasoning, and her reason was valid. And it was not out of her laziness, lethargy, or some selfish interest that she was holding back. She was holding back for the good of creation only. And she gave out the remedy also. She said, now that you are there, I am ready to bless anyone with whatever they seek, but please find the calf, the milk pot, and the milkman. So now it is said that when Prthu Raja got this advice from Mother Earth, he made Svayambhu Manu the calf. Svayambhu Manu is the child of earth. So she made him, he made Svayambhu Manu the calf, and he himself became the milkman. And so she says, the emperor made a calf of Svayambhu Manu and drew from her in his own hands all species of herbs and annual plants. So the milk is the herbs, the plants, the seasonal crops, everything. This is verse number 12. Iti priyam hitam vakyam bhuva adaya bhupatihi vatsam kritva manum panau avaduhat sakalaushadhihi tatha pare cha sarvatra saramadadate budhaha tatonyye cha yatha kamam duduhu pritubhavitam. So other wise and intelligent persons also took the essence of everything. And so after Prthu, others also drew from earth the objects sought after by them. So different beings now, they bring forth different calves and milk the earth for what they desire. And very interesting, you see. The seers and sages, they made calf of Brihaspati, guru of Devatas, milked the goddess and got the sacred Veda for the milk. Their milk pots are the organs of hearing, of speech, and of the mind. Then the Devatas made Indra the calf and drew from earth the nectar called Somaras. Besides mental vigor, ardor of the senses, physical strength for their milk in the vessel of gold. Now you see what comes. Daityas and Danavas made a calf of Prahlada, the noblest of them all, and obtained wines and distillates, toddy, etc. for their milk in a bucket of iron. Like this, they give one long list. Each one gets different things what they seek. Somebody gets Ashtasiddhi, somebody gets the way to travel on this, move through this air. And then the Pitrus, they made the calf of Aryama and drew with their reverence what is known as Kavya, the food for the Pitrus. The Siddhas, they obtained the Ashtasiddhis. And the Vidyadharas, they got the art of, traveling in air. All this by willpower only. They don't need a Viman or anything. They just will, and they will, just like we walk normally, they'll fly in the air. So then King Purushas, they made a calf of Mayadana. May is that architect who made that palace of, the Indraprastha for the Pandavas. So they obtained through Mayadana the magic art of those wonderful beings who can disappear, an art which could be exhibited by wish or thought. They can appear, disappear at will. Similarly, it is said Yakshas and Rakshasas, the ghosts, Pishachas, they feed on raw flesh. So they made calf of Rudra and they drew the beer of blood in a skull for a pot. The serpents made calf of Takshaka and drew poison in their mouth for the vessel. The beasts made a calf of the bull of Lord Shiva and obtained grasses for milk in the vessel of the forest. So the cows, the herbivorous animals, etc., the cows, the bulls, all of them, they want grass. So they got the grass. The snakes want poison, they got poison. Like that. The birds made calf of Garuda and they got mobile creatures such as moths and insects, as well as immobile creatures, fruits, etc., as milk. With the banyan for the calf, the trees got different kinds of saps for milk. The mountains used Himalaya as the calf and obtained various minerals in the basins of their ridges. Earth is a wish-yielding cow. This is 26th shloka. Sarve swamukhya vatsena sve patre prithak payaha sarva kama dudham prithvim duduhu prithubhavitam. So the conclusion here is the earth is a wish-yielding cow. Now that she had been tamed and made available for milking by King Prthu, all the species of living beings milked her, each with its own chief as the calf, and obtained milk in various forms and held it in their own vessel. So each of the beings, they approach earth and they get as per their desire what they want to sustain their species, which means earth has the capability to sustain all life forms. And not only physical nourishment earth gives. You see what all earth gives. To the wise men and the Brahmanas, the earth gave knowledge, the Veda itself. It's not that only some physical things and food and water, etc. is available on the earth. Earth can bless with so many things, Ashtasiddhis and all that you see here. That's why for us the earth is not just a physical planet. And now everything we don't have to reduce it to some physical reality, saying that if they eat certain type of things in this earth, then they get certain types of powers, then they can fly in the air and all that. Many of these Anima, Mahima, Garima, Laghima, all these are Ashtasiddhis. They are not physical powers alone. They are by will. One can become light, one can become heavy, one become huge, one can become, very small. These are siddhis, and these siddhis, they come because Bhagavan manifests through these various powers. So earth is also the Shakti of Bhagavan only. And that's why Mother Earth, so Sita ji is born from Mother Earth, and Sita ji can also bless, and she does bless Hanuman ji, saying Ashta Siddhi Navnidhi ke Data. Ashta Siddhi Hanuman ji already has. Because to reach there, he took that form, big form, small form, all that he already did to find Sita ji. Then she says, you can become the giver of that. So Sita ji blesses Hanuman ji that you will become giver of Ashtasiddhi, Navnidhi, etc. So that's why we revere earth, we worship the earth. And the bhavana is that earth is the Shakti of Bhagavan himself and sustaining us. The life-sustaining force of that Supreme Lord manifests in the form of the earth. So Maitreya Rishi says that in this way, King Prthu and others who sought food for themselves to eat milked the cow and got different kinds of milk in the form of their own food with different calves and cups to hold it. Now, King Prthu, who was angry so far with the earth, became pleased with the earth, and earth also yielded various objects of desire to all the different beings. So he accepted her as his daughter. And so his name became Prthu. Prithvi, and so Prthu. See, Duhitritve Chakaremam Premna Duhitr Vatsalaha. With feeling paternal love for her, he fondly accepted her as a daughter. Then he leveled the earth. Chunayan Swadhanushkotya Girikutani Rajarat Bhumandalamidam Vainyaha Rayas Chakre Samam Vibhuhu. So he crushed various mountains wherever they needed to be leveled. He leveled them, and with his bow He made the surface of the earth much more leveled. Earlier it was more rugged. Then what did he do? He was a father to his subjects and provided them with the means of subsistence. Then he did planning for them to stay properly. It is said before Prthu Raja's advent, his village system, town planning, all that was not there. See, it is said here, the Nivasan Kalpayan Chakre Tatra Tatra Yatharhatah Graman Pura Pattanani Durgani Vividhani Cha Ghoshan Vrajan Sashibiran Akaran Kheta Kharvatan Prakprithoriha Naivaisha Puragramadhikalpana Yatha Sukham Vasanti Sma Tatra Tatra Kuto Bhayaha. So Prthu Raja is given the credit as far as our Sanatana Dharma is concerned. Prthu Raja is given the credit that he founded the villages, towns, cities, and at different places on the earth, built castles, forts of every description, designed abodes for cowherds, pens for cattle, contrived camps, cantonments, and taught how to dig mines. He provided houses for the farmers and cultivators and raised hamlets on hillsides. Before the advent of Prthu, people had no idea of different kinds of human dwellings like villages and towns on this globe. Now they began to live comfortably in rural and urban conditions with a sense of security of life and property in every part of the earth. So Raja Prthu did his duty as a king, protected the Praja, helped Mother Earth also. Though he became angry, it was actually to ensure that the blocking that is there, the block that is there in the earth, that is removed, and the earth also can bring forth her, the crops and everything in a very smooth way. The balance is restored. So when adharmic kings like Vena, etc., are killed, dharmic kings come to rule, then that imbalance which was there earlier and that restriction and the dangers and the challenges that were earlier, they all get restored. That is called Dharma Samsthapana. So it's not necessarily Dharma Samsthapana happens only by killing. It happens mainly by all this, by making people live the dharmic way of life, the higher way of life. Now that he has settled down, he has established his kingdom well. Now you see what happens next. He gets the knowledge from Sanat Kumars and then he does Ashwamedha Yajna. Remember, all this is in this third Purushartha. So Dharma Purushartha we saw Sati's episode. Artha Purushartha we saw Dhruva, his prasang. Now we are saying Kama episode, the fulfillment of desires. So how does fulfillment of desires happen also? Based on dharma only. And that dharma is dedicated to Bhagwan. So Prthu Raja helps everyone to fulfill their desires in a dharmic way when King Vena and others were doing adharmic things. So when adharma prevails, then though it appears that desires are getting fulfilled, actually it is destructive. Adharma creates a lot of destruction. And resources will get lost, earth will not bring forth its resources, there will be other dangers and challenges, imbalance in the whole Srishti, all that happens because of adharma. So we have to ensure that we live as much dharmically as we can and protect, preserve this earth. So for today we will stop here. Any questions?
मंगल आरती प्रिया प्रीतम की, मंगल प्रीति रीति धूम की, मंगल कांति हसनी दसनन की, मंगल मुरली दीना धुन की, मंगल आरती। मंगल बनिक त्रिभंगी हरि की, मंगल सेवा सब सहचर की, मंगल सिर चंद्रिका मुकुट की, मंगल छवि नयन में अटकी, मंगल आरती। पभी अंग अंग की, मंगल गौर श्याम रंग की, मंगल अति कटि पियरे पट की, मंगल चितमणि नागर नट की, मंगल आरती। मंगल शोभा कमल नयन की, मंगल माधुरी मृदुल पैन की, मंगल वृंदावन मद अटकी, मंगल क्रीडन जमुना तट की, मंगल आरती। मंगल चरण अरुण तरुवन की, मंगल करणी भगति हरिजन की, मंगल जुगल प्रिया भावन की, मंगल श्री राधा जीवन की, मंगल आरती प्रिया प्रीतम की, मंगल प्रीति रीति डोल की, मंगल आरती। मंगल आरती। राधावर कृष्णचंद्र भगवान की जय। ओम न तत्र सूर्यो भाति न चंद्र तारकम्, नेमा विद्युतो भान्ति कुतोऽयम् अग्निः, तमेव भान्तमनुभाति सर्वं, तस्य भासा सर्वमिदं विभाति। सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की।
ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते, पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम।